Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
Alright, I'm Wiley Green, and this is my guide to the West. Do 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 do. We're hey. Oh, we did it. So, the West Country. It is surely the greatest place on earth. I'm here amongst the Somerset countryside, taking a lovely hike. It truly is just the most wonderful place on earth. So let's get started. Now, my granddad always used to say to me, Wiley, save the best till last. But he was my favourite grandparent and he died first. So let's start with the best. In my hometown of Taunton. And we'll start where it all began for me, in my childhood bedroom. Oh! Clinton Rogers, local newsman, probably Taunton's most successful person ever. Yeah. Personal hero. TV don't actually work for any channels or anything. I just got it so I can have that picture of Clinton there, so it helps me get asleep. That kind of bright white light really soothes me. Expensive, the whole set, but totally worth it. So, oh, my mates, right? Bear one, okay. It's red panda, owl. Normal panda, monkey, cheeky bugger, bear, koala, penguin, crocodile, monkey 2, monkey 3, yoder, dog, reindeer. I know what you're thinking, not the best naming Wiley, because he is a moose actually, which is obvious, but I just really love Christmas, so I get in the spirit. Oh, take a look at this, right? I love reading. This is probably my favourite book. It's got a collection of Roald Dahl stories. And Roald Dahl, he's my favourite author, right? Because he's not really good at writing, but he's also good at drawing as well. Talented feller. And my favourite of all his stories, probably Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Because it's about a little boy who gets to go to a little chocolate factory. And he sees little dancing people. And it's okay to laugh at them, because they're not real. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This bit's great. Wasn't that great? Well, that's it from my room, where I was born. One of the many things I share with my mother, including this jumper. Back to you, Wiley, for more about the tantalising town of Taunton. Taunton, the county town of Somerset. Basically, it's like the London of the West Country. The first site I visited in Taunton was Vivry Park, which has so much cool stuff. It has nature, history, a world-class music venue, and a place where you can bet on squirrels. Oh! Of course, I love Torrin, but something started to bother me whilst I was walking its river, the Tone. I've lived my whole life in Torrin, but I don't know how it got its name. How did this town on the Tone, this Tone Town, if you will, get called Torntown? I decided I needed answers. So I came to this place, the Museum of all of flippin' Somerset. Its exhibits are exciting, scary, and downright confusing. It's just packed full of ancient artifacts. But that's Torton for you. It also has a war exhibit. War is a very serious subject, but also kind of fun. But I still couldn't figure out how Torton got its name, no matter how many times I watched this 40-minute documentary. I may never be like Clinton Rogers. This is where he stands when he's reporting. I hope I too can stand here someday, like I am in this video. But that day is yet to come. Isn't Torton great? Now we're going to take a trip to learn all about the historical city of Exeter. So let's go have a factual party. Oh, bugger. Exeter, a city of history. I started at Exeter's Cathedral. It is beautiful, but there was something off about it. I noticed some stone statues restrained behind bars, looking very ashamed of themselves. And then I realised what they'd been looking at. The hotel that burnt down only a year ago. Coincidence? I think not. One of Exeter's most famous attractions is Parliament Street, known for being extraordinarily thin. I love a back alley. And then I made a startling discovery. A Roman attraction in Exeter no one had talked about. Cafe Nero. It led me to ask, who was this Emperor Nero? And why did he love coffee so much? So that was my trip to Exeter. There'd been a few worries along the way, but also a lot of fun. Like that time I touched a bit of a wall. Oh! Then as I was leaving Exeter, I met this bloke called David. And guess what? He was actually born in Exeter. What are the chances of finding someone like that around here? I'm a lucky boy. So Exeter may have some fire-breathing statues, but it's also a place people can call home. Now, how many places around the world are there where people can do that? I got a brand new combine harvester, do-do-do-do-do. Bum bum bum, I got a brand new combine harvester, do-do-do-do. Wasn't Exeter just great? But now it's time to go to a city in Somerset that may be even more beautiful. It's known by the locals as Le Paris de la West. It's of course Bristol. Bristol. Once upon a time it was the heart of the West, with its bustling harbour a frantic centre of trade. And you know what? Looking at it, I'd say it still was. The SS Great Britain is a ship with a deep connection to Bristol and a very high admission price, which is why we had to look at it from behind a fence. My Uncle Brian did a similar thing when he built a fence in his garden to stop neighbours watching his naked gardening. Unless they paid the admission price, of course, and it was steep. Oh, Suspenseful music? What's our next attraction? There's so much suspense, suspense, suspense! It's the Clifton Suspension Bridge! Get it? The bridge was designed by one of Brizzle's favourite sons, Isambard Kingdom Brunel. Apparently, he looked like this. And was also very buttery. Yum. Now it's time for a quiz! Who designed the Clifton Suspension Bridge? Was it A, Isambard Kingdom Brunel? B, is my bear in a kind of cartel? C, was Diehard's net income a hard sell? D, farmyards and pilgrims both smell? Or E, does Bernard speak Klingon too well? What's the answer? Google it! We live in a technology-based world, you idiot! Back in Brizzle, things were getting even more interesting. I'd spotted a sign of an emperor's domination. Then I met this bloke called Nick. He loved his sweeties. He was also very generous. Thanks, Nick. And then I started thinking about this bloke, Banksy, Brizzle's most famous artiste. All of his art has a social or political message, like this one that says, they should make Toy Story but with more explosives. Or this one, which says, it's fine to be really, really gay, because gorillas are too, and we're all just gorillas underneath. And then I was looking at this one, of a girl with a burglar alarm earring. I was thinking, is it saying watch out for ear infections? Or yellow earrings work well with brick? But then I wondered, what about if it's something bad? Actually, what if all of Banksy's paintings were some sort of warning, like a burglar alarm, suggesting something was wrong with the West? But why would someone from the Paris of the West have a problem with it? Alright, I'm just reading a bit of Robin Hood. It's good, but the author forgets to mention that Robin Hood is a fox. Bare oversight. So Brizzle left me with a lot of questions. Was the West everything I always thought, or not? I decided I needed answers. So I went to a foreign land known as Wales, and a city known as Cardiff, to find out if the West really was everything I thought it was. I came to Cardiff to get an outsider's view of the West Country, and I was determined that nothing would distract me from my mission. Cardiff Castle. Just look at it. It almost looks like the sort of place you'd fight dragons. But dragons don't exist. They don't exist, Wiley. Do they? Troubled by questions about the existence of dragons, I took a walk to think stuff. I decided I needed answers. So I took a trip to this place, the government of Wales. But when we arrived, we were told we couldn't enter or film it. Was this for security reasons? Perhaps. Or was it because the government of Wales is actually a parliament of dragons who secretly rule the people of Wales unbeknownst to the entire world? I mean, think about it. Wherever you go in Cardiff, there are pictures of dragons. Subliminal propaganda for Wales's secret dragon rulers, who dream of taking over the world? No. Just look at this wheel. A knockoff London Eye? Or is it actually a giant mind control device? It's flashing lights hypnotising the people of Cardiff into submission. Had I in fact discovered the greatest conspiracy of all time? Probably not. In fact, I'd gotten pretty distracted, not just by the dragon thing, but also I thought I'd found some signs of cross-country Roman invasion. And I saw this whacking great stadium, probably for table tennis or something. But I finally got what I came to Cardiff for when I cornered someone outside a public loo. So, Rebecca, what do you think of the West Country?
It's rubbish.
Well, that's obviously from someone who's never been there. What part of Wales are you from again?
Bristol.
There's a Bristol in Wales. 2 hours later, it hit me. So I took another stroll, retracing the exact steps I'd taken earlier. And so I left Cardiff, wondering an earth-shattering question. What if the West wasn't actually that great at all? Alright, so after Cardiff, I was feeling really low because I'd started to doubt everything I'd always thought of the West. So when I ended up in the city of Wales, I was in a bit of depression. And so I did what anybody would do if they were a bit depressed. I turned the camera to black and white and started to speak in French. Je veux. Un pain de heure. Je le tout, je le Permettez-vous, je les gens. Et on de c'est on donne. Coujay, un sled. Tu les quand, le bouté pout. E lore. E more. Voulez-vous? Voulez-vous coller je veux? De quandre me. Et un calf. Tu vas me payer. Lupulé. Borgemain. Ule Gertek. Egan Club. Ule Majevu. Esquant u la u and Sikla. Laid la mamon. Ante bronzizas. Je le crois. Un day more. Je vais nor. Un tay leaf. Is a real? Oren Lee. So that was my trip to Wales. Next up was... Oi! Mother! Wait, you... Put the screen back up. Just cut to Bath. Bath, Wiley, Bath. Bath. A city of posh people and pigeons. When I arrived in Bath, I felt like this thing. Pulteney Bridge. Underneath, I was a seething mass of angry whitewater rapids. But on top, I appeared an exquisite example of 18th century Georgian architecture. Even when I was looking at this beautiful abbey, all I was thinking was, how many houses does this god bloke need? And then a miracle happened whilst I was checking some footage. Cafe Nero. Wherever I'd gone in the West, I'd found a Cafe Nero. And it got me thinking, if this place is good enough for a Roman emperor to want to start his own successful chain of coffee businesses in, well, it's good enough for little old Wiley Green. And so, in the words of Cafe Nero, it was business as usual. I started off with this place, the circus. I'm not sure why it's called the circus. The only thing there was a bunch of trees. Is that what posh people do at circuses? Just look at trees going, I could make a mansion out of that. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Then I came here. The Crescent. The Crescent is a row of houses. I ended my journey after meeting a new friend at a charity shop. We are so happy to have found each other. And so I returned home to Taunton, delighted I'd finished my documentary. But it wasn't quite over yet. Alright, so that's my documentary. I should probably tell my mother I finished it, really. She couldn't believe it when I said I was going to start making a documentary. She was going, Wiley, what are you doing that? And I was saying, well, because I love Clinton, and I love the West Country, and I was born here, so I should make a documentary about it. And she was going, that's ridiculous, right? Because you don't have the money, and the West Country's not that great, and you weren't born here anyway, so it don't matter, does it? Just nonsense like that, really. Just... Mother! 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 London. She said I was born in London. Literally, worst place on earth. And I'm from there. I can't believe it. You can probably guess what happened next. Your documentary say Worfley. Worfley. Say te Burnder Tornton. Say goo. And le London. Say Worfley. Judah Worfley. all that was left to do was empty my bag. Gobstopper. Oh, Lego! It's like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. Charlie in the Chocolate Factory is the story of an ordinary boy who journeys to a magical land which is full of incredible and fantastical sights. Whilst there, he meets a load of weird and wacky people, many of whom are really short. He gets to taste strange new foods and drinks. In the movie, Mr. Wonka gives all the children gobstoppers as a test to see if any of them will give away his recipe. But at the end, Charlie is the only one who still has his, so Mr. Wonka knows he is a good lad, because it's what's on the inside that counts. Nothing is just good or just bad, and that's okay. Some people think the West Country's rubbish, but I think that's just because they haven't seen its gobstoppers. So I may have been born in London, but on the inside, I'm a West Country lad. I love this place because, well, it's a world of pure imagination.
His name's Wiley Green, yet you know what I mean. He's telling you what's best from the west to the west. Clinton Rogers from a place called Taunton makes the world seem less daunting. Green screen rolling, hills are falling. Wiley still sweets from you in the morning. Roman history, a mystery, a warm cup of coffee. Willy Wonka, a plunker with weird looking friends. This all makes sense now you've seen to the end. Exeter and Cardiff are quite far away. You can get there and back in less than a day. Bristol and Bath were mentioned as well. There's so much to see, so there's no time to dwell. Je voudrais a baguette in blanc and noir. Yes, I agree, that was a pretty weird part, but it all works out great, don't you see? Cause Wiley's the man on his own TV.